the audio. Let me know if you can hear anything. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Sure, great, thank you. That's great. That's great, thank you. That's just what I was gonna do, but thank you, you're gonna save me time there. Right. That's great, thank you. Hello and welcome to N.E.S.T Tuesday Create session. We'll just wait a couple minutes just in case anyone else is about to join. In the meantime, if anyone remembers from last week what this week's topic is, just write it down in the comments. We'll start in a couple minutes, hopefully. Okay. Hello and welcome. Today's session will be about Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci was a famous artist from a long time ago, and he's one of the world's most famous artists until today. Today's lesson will include many facts about the life of Da Vinci, some of his paintings, his anatomy drawings, and a little quiz in the end. Also, keep focused because there will also be many keywords you can learn from. Leonardo da Vinci was born in Italy in 1452, so around 550 years ago. He is known for many things, including painting, anatomy, architecture, engineering, and many others. His work was part of the Renaissance period. Renaissance is one of the key words. Renaissance is a time period in the European culture in historical terms, and it involves many artistic, political, and economic developments from the 14th century to the 17th century. So basically, the Renaissance is a time period that lasted from the 1300s to 1600s, or 14th to 17th century. Just in case anybody doesn't know, anatomy is like the study of the human body. Architecture has to do with buildings, and I'm assuming everyone knows what engineering is. Hi, Barker, you're welcome. Here are some of Da Vinci's paintings. Some of them you may recognize, and others you may not. If if you recognize any of these paintings, please write a comment down below. And obviously throughout the live stream, if you have any questions, please write them down below and someone will be answering them for you. Okay. The painting on the left is the Mona Lisa. I'm assuming many of you heard about it before, and it was also featured in last week's lesson. And there are many other paintings as well. I do not personally recognize them without looking. Leonardo da Vinci's most famous painting is obviously the Mona Lisa. I'm assuming some of you were here last week and would remember it. Does anybody know which art gallery the Mona Lisa can be found in? I'll give you 30 seconds in case anyone wants to answer. Okay. The Mona Lisa can be found in the Louvre Museum in Paris, in France, which was the main topic for last week's lesson. A lot of his paintings depict religious scenes from the Bible. Just in case anybody doesn't know, the word depict just means shows. So a lot of his paintings show religious scenes from the Bible, which is a religious book in Christianity. For example, the Last Supper shows the last meal Jesus had with his disciples. So, as seen in the top right painting, this painting is called The Last Supper, and it shows Jesus in the center, or supposedly, and shows the last dinner he had with his disciples. Leonardo da Vinci was very good at drawing and painting the human figure, which came in handy, and it was one of the things Leonardo da Vinci was famous for. Da Vinci's anatomy drawings. Da Vinci was allowed to dissect a human body to make his anatomy drawings, which means dissect is another keyword, which means to systematically cut up the body to be able to study its internal parts. Another keyword is anatomy, as I've mentioned before. It's the structure of organisms or the study of the human body. So Da Vinci was allowed to dissect the human body back at his time, and basically he would make drawings of the whole inside of the human body and put them into books to allow people to study and become doctors at the time. His work was very useful to the development of medicine even until today. Hi, Halim Hassan, welcome. Back in that time, sometimes bodies of dead prisoners were donated in order to be dissected for the purpose of science or learning more about medicine, basically. This drawing on the right is called the Vitruvian Man, and it's a drawing of the study of the inside proportions of the body. So it shows, it's basically like a circle and shows the proportions or the qualities of the body and its parts. Here is a different page from one of his books showing drawings of muscles, joints, and tendons in the arm, which are all just parts of the human body, basically. A tendon is what connects the muscle to the bone. As you can see, the work was very detailed. This was the result from the dissections he carried out. As I mentioned before, Da Vinci's work was of massive contribution to science. His drawings helped explain a lot about how the human body worked. He also studied the anatomy of many different animals. Part of this was done to compare animals to humans, and it disproved the work of previous artists and developed medicine for the future. These studies were used in many different classes and lectures in universities at the time to teach people medicine or bring them up to date with the new developments. This book was mentioned in last week's session as well. It's called The Da Vinci Code. It's a book written by Dan Brown, which was a worldwide bestseller. It is a thriller detective story based around two characters after a murder in the Louvre Museum. It was made into a film or a movie in 2006. As I mentioned last week, the movie is very good and famous, and it is definitely highly recommended if you're interested in art. It shows a recent perception or idea of what happened back then and shows the inside of the Louvre and many different art figures inside as well. And obviously, it is based in Paris, in France. Okay, just a few seconds there, just in case anyone needs more info. Um, okay, apologize for the session being slightly short. Um, but we're now going to move on to a quiz. Now, if you know the answer to any of these, please leave it in the comments below. Where was Leonardo da Vinci born? Was it in England, France, or Italy? Nice try, Reporter. France is not the correct answer. Many of his artworks are based in France. However, it is not where he was born. So the Mona Lisa is located in France, yes, but it's not where he was born. The correct answer is Italy. Leonardo da Vinci was born in Italy. Um, next question is um, which time period was Leonardo da Vinci famous in? Don't apologize, Robert. It's okay. It's just confusing a little. Yes, correct. Answer is Italy. I repeat the question. Which time period was Leonardo da Vinci famous in? Which you can name the centuries or the years, anything you like. I will give you multiple choice answers. Um, Sorry, one second. I'll find the answer. Was it from the year 1000 to the year 1300? Was it from the year 1200 to the year 1400? Or was it from the year 1300 to the year 1600? Correct, Hizza. It's Italy. The correct answer is the life of Da Vinci and his artworks lasted during the time period of the Renaissance, which was from the years 1300 to the years 1600. So the 14th to 17th centuries. Next question is, what is Leonardo da Vinci's most famous painting? And can you name it? Correct, Hazel, that's very accurate. It's 15th of April 1452. I'll give you 30 seconds or so to answer the next question. Correct, Ibrahim Subahi. It is the painting in the middle. Can anyone tell me what the name of the painting is? Correct, Rabar. Once again, bonus point for anyone who can tell me what the name is. Correct, Hiza. Mona Lisa. Uh, Very close, Ibrahim Sabahi. Mona Lisa. Yes, it's Mona Lisa painting. It's the painting in the middle. Now, as mentioned last week, this painting is one of the most famous and most expensive paintings in the world. It is worth over £1 billion. And an interesting figure about it is that if you look at the image and stare at it for a few seconds, at first she looks like she is smiling. Then she looks like she stopped smiling. Another interesting fact is whichever angle you look at the Mona Lisa from, it looks as if she's staring at you. Okay. Next question is, how did Da Vinci learn about the anatomy of the human body? Did he take pictures of people? Did he dissect a human body? Or did he make it up? Just for your information, these PowerPoints have been emailed out to most of you, in case you want to go through it and find any of the answers again. Ibrahim Sabahi, Mona Lisa's smile, as you can see, if you look at it at the start, she looks like she's smiling. Then, if you keep looking at it for a few seconds, she stops smiling. That's what's interesting about her smile. I repeat the question. How did Da Vinci learn about the anatomy of the human body? Did he take pictures of people? Did he dissect it? Or did he make it up? I'll give you a few more seconds just in case anybody knows the answer. Please leave it in the comments. Nice try, Ibrahim. That's not the correct answer. Made it up means he made it from his own imagination or lied about it. However, this was real. He did actually do it. So that means we have two other possible answers. Did he take pictures of people? Or did he dissect a human body? Yes, Manal, Leonardo da Vinci is born in Italy. That's correct. Okay, the correct answer is that Leonardo da Vinci dissected a human body. To answer your question, Ibrahim, dissect means um, opening a body or cutting it up to look inside of it. So I'll find you the PowerPoint with the definition of dissect. Slide, one second. There you go. As you can see, dissect means to systematically cut up the body to be able to study its internal parts. So when you dissect a body, you cut through it and look inside for research purposes. Yes, Ibrahim Sabahi, that is the correct answer. Back then, this was the only way to develop in medicine and learn more about the human body. There were many people from before Da Vinci that had theories about the human body and how it works. However, it was only until this time that they were able to dissect human bodies and get more accurate information on what's inside and how the human body works. Okay. Um, Next question is Leonardo da Vinci was famous for multiple things, including painting. Can you name one of the other things he was famous for? No, Ibrahim, he wasn't a doctor. Um, but he was very good at drawing. Therefore, he dissected bodies and made drawings of every little detail inside the body so doctors can learn from it. And it was also used with medical students so they can learn to become doctors. So, as shown in the picture over here, he drew very detailed pictures of the inside of the body, which was useful for doctors and students becoming doctors. Now, can you name one of the other jobs or other activities that Leonardo da Vinci was famous for, aside from painting? His main hobby was painting. However, he had many others. Yes, Ibrahim, it's very interesting. Um, it's taught in many history lessons at school now. I learned this in history myself, and it's very interesting that his artwork is very important until today. He had talent, and therefore he's one of the most famous artists of all time. Okay, the answer is Leonardo da Vinci was famous for painting, anatomy, architecture, and engineering. Can anyone define the word anatomy? Does anyone know what anatomy means? Correct, Abu Bakr. He was famous for engineering and architecture. He wasn't an engineer, but or an architecture, but like he did with anatomy or medicine, he would help draw um, figures and stuff like that that would help architectures and engineers. Okay. Um, if no one knows, here is the definition of anatomy. It is the structure of organisms or the structure of a human being's body. So the pictures we have shown here, it shows a structure, the study of the body. Correct, Ibrahim? That's exactly what it is. That's very accurate. Well done. Thank you very much. Thank you. Um, Now, this will be the last question. Can anyone name any more of Da Vinci's art pieces or paintings? We have mentioned a few in this PowerPoint, in this session. Can anyone mention one? Ibrahim Sabahi, correct. Last Dinner is one of his very famous paintings. Um, and it's interesting that it's your favorite one. It's a very descriptive painting. It shows a lot in it and has a lot of color. It's very interesting. It looks great. And it is a very famous painting as well. Um, and so are all of the rest of them. I'm sure you may have seen some of them before. Okay. If anyone has any questions before we end the session, please put them down below. I'll give you around 30 seconds just in case anybody has any more questions. And um, here are some links to virtual museums and art gallery tours. So this basically means that you can go on these websites and it will show you a virtual tour, which is like a video tour of different art galleries. You can find these links in the PowerPoint that was sent to you by email. There are a few, for example, the National Gallery, the Tate Modern, the British Museum, the Vatican Museum, and the National History Museum. Now, if anyone has any questions, please leave them down below. We'll give you around 30 seconds to a minute before the session ends. Go ahead, Ibrahim. What's your question? What group of people? Um, I assume you mean what time period? Can you explain your question? Um, I know it was part of the Renaissance period, which is the time period between 1300s and 1600s. Um, is that the answer to your question? Oh, I googled your question, Ibrahim. The answer to your question is that Leonardo da Vinci is part of the Leonardeschi group. Uh, I repeat, the answer is Leonardeschi. So it is Leonardeschi. Leonardeschi. It's a large group of artists who worked in a studio under the influence of Leonardo da Vinci. Um, he joined many other groups as well, but Leonardeschi is the main group. He also joined the Guild of St. Luke and the studio of Andrea del Verrocchio over his lifetime. But the main group was Leonardeschi. I hope that's the answer to your question. Um, yeah. Does anybody have any other questions? Or Ibrahim, if that's the answer to your question? I also found that Leonardo da Vinci um, influenced people like Andrea del Verrocchio, Lorenzo de' Medici, and John Agrippolis. Um, he is not well known for being part of politics. He was just basically an artist, and his artwork helped with architectures, engineers, and doctors or anatomy. So he wasn't a doctor, he wasn't an engineer, and he wasn't an architecture. Um, he was just an artist who helped these certain professions or people. Da Vinci was also considered very, very smart. Another website says that he was someone with a level of genius in many fields, such as invention, painting, sculpture, architecture, science, engineering, anatomy, astronomy, and more. I'm glad that answered your question, Ibrahim, and thank you for asking. Just an extra few seconds, just in case anyone else has any questions. Does anybody have any last questions? Okay, if no one has any last questions, that's all for today's session. Thank you all so much for joining and for being very cooperative. Once again, as you have seen here, there are many links to virtual museums and art gallery tours in case you want to learn more about art during this lockdown. Thank you so much for watching. This PowerPoint has been emailed to you in case you want to go over it again. And have a good day. We'll see you again next week for a different Create session. Thank you very much for joining.